Today I am going to be servicing an impression cylinder. So this is a hydraulic ram. Pretty stiff right now, but we're just going to try and get most of the thick stuff off, just so we're not pushing it down into the drain. So this is the part that always wears out. This is brass, but it's got some O-rings on the inside, and those always wear down. So this is the cylinder. Sometimes it locks up like that, and sometimes we can actually pull it out. Make sure that liquid can flow from the end. Add a little hole right here. And this is definitely clogged up, so I'm going to just stab it, kind of work it around. And I want to make sure that we actually have flow. Kind of see it shooting out, so we do have flow, so that's good. And I have actually dealt with one of these that was so strongly clogged that I had to get a drill and drill it out. So that can happen. This is a green scrub pad. I find this is the best thing for cleaning out these threads in here. Now at this point we could take this nut off and unspin this and clean it all out, but we really don't have to. So whenever I do this, I always leave that attached. I found that breaking this thing loose and then reattaching it, doing that enough times can actually cause problems, so I just don't do it anymore. Tight. So I'm going to put this in this jaw area right here. So this is for a pipe, this kind of thing. I'm going to put it in with a rag to kind of protect it a little bit. We don't want to squeeze because we can deform this cylinder. We just want to grab it tight enough that we can hit it and it might slide a little bit. Now the temptation, even with a brass hammer, is to just take this thing and smack it out. You really don't want to do that, because if you do, you could mushroom this end out and then you'll never be able to use this thread until you repair it. So you can put something in the middle, something that's smaller, and then you can hit that. All right, it is moving just a little bit. Usually if you take these apart right away, like right after you pull it out, then it'll just slide out. If you let it sit for a day or two, then it seizes up. And these are cup seals. You can see it's got kind of a groove in here, like a channel. And so what that does is when oil goes in here, it spreads this apart and it makes an even better seal. Alright, so I'm going to use a wire wheel to clean up these threads to make sure everything threads on real nice. The key to this is don't press real hard, because if you do, it's going to want to grab it and try to pull it out of your hands. And the other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to go in like this, because it'll force it down. You can run it on the bottom, but I find the best thing is just to kind of hold it up here and then hit it like that. But also definitely do not have a rag on your hands when you're doing this, because it will pull it out of your hands. With this, I definitely want to make sure I do not hit this area here, because if I grind this down even a little bit, it will no longer make a good seal. And for this, I'm just going to go around the edge a little bit to make sure I knock all these chunks off. And this is the kit. So this is O-rings. We got 6 rings. These 2 right here. Click into that. And this. So I'm going to put on these rings first. And then I want them to be kind of facing opposite, so you can see we got this tear. I want to spin that so it's 180 out from this tear. Then these cups, you want the cup to be facing away from the piston, so as fluid comes in, it's going to be spreading it here. On this one, you want it facing that way, because fluid will come in from this side as well. You can see it, sometimes it kind of wants to fold around, so you just got to try to work it, force it in place. So these are set. Now I'm going to throw in my connecting rods. And sometimes there will be some muck or corrosion inside the hole, so you can spray it with WD-40 if you get that. Sometimes that'll kind of loosen it up. You can try penetrating oil. Just let it sit and then blow it out with air. Sometimes you just gotta kind of force it in. And we use WD-40 to lube everything. And you can see we got the hole on this side. So this is going to be going in here. And that means that this side is going to be facing away from the wall. So I want the front, the tag to be on that side. And this will just press in. Like that. So again, it's very important to lube everything. Set that on. And then these rings want to sit on top, so we have to kind of push them in place. Okay, and this should just push in. And then in this box, you got this. So you can see the difference. And you know, a little wear isn't a big deal. The big problem is this ring on the inside. If this is damaged, like this one's just completely tore up, then it's gonna leak. Almost 100% of the time, that's the reason this leaks. We gotta make sure we take this off, and this goes in here in this little groove. All right, I'm gonna lube that ring. And then this goes on here. We don't want to spin it so that it's past, right? So we want it to be less than flush with that surface, because we're going to spin it in and it's going to tighten it up to that surface. If we have it past there, we'll just crush this brass. I'm going to lube that O-ring, and we'll fit this together. Kind of like that. And we want to make sure that we line these up together and these up together. Spin the nuts on. I'm not going to tighten them up yet. Beautiful day.
See, flat. The idea is to let this float because of the seals. Otherwise, you don't want to push the seals off to one side. The brass has two seals, the one around the shaft,
okay,
and the one around itself. Now, when you take this plate, this outer plate, and you push it to one side, you're pushing to the seals on one side.
Oh, I see. So the ram is going to rub on one side of the seal.
Right, so when you let this float,
okay,
it allows the seals to center the shaft within itself.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
A lot of people will tighten this down and try and square it up. You know what I'm saying?
This square doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters is the center of the ram.
Yes.
I got what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
I got what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, because you got the inner seals.
Right.
And then you got the outer seal.
Right.
And this threads into this.
Right.
So if you take this and you push it to one side, what's it going to do?
It's going to wear down that side.
Yes.
Right.
Premature. So it's pretty important to keep it as flat and as floating as much as possible.
That's what you're saying. Thank you. All right. So I want to tighten these down, but I don't want to go too tight because I have actually pushed these through and started rubbing the end of here on the ramp. So we just want to get it tight to where it's not going to leak. All right. Now we just got to tighten that collar up. So this is a spanner wrench. You can see it's got kind of some movement on here, so it'll lock onto different size rings. And now we're just tightening this. There we go. Right on. So hydraulic fluid will go in here and we'll push that ram up. It will go into here and then we'll push that ram down. We just want to make sure that that's nice and free because, I mean, we did clamp on here. It could have deformed it. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. As long as that thing's moving nice like that, we're good. And then we use Molykote 55 to lube the O-rings we're going to put in here. And this is two purposes. The first one is just kind of lubricate everything so it'll slide together. And the second one is because it's a little sticky, like a grease. So when we're going to install this thing, we don't have to worry about it falling off. And that's it.